old TSR took the weekend off, and I'm come back to seeing a lot of this. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you had a great weekend. And seeing a lot of trade rumors right now because, LeBron James going to the Philadelphia 76ers. People need something to talk about. And now the story is Steph Curry to our San Antonio Spurs. Let's go ahead and break this trade down, talk about the rumor, and most importantly, could and should it happen? First off, let's talk about Steph Curry, one of, if not the greatest shooter of all time. A 4-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP with, I believe, the only unanimous MVP in NBA history, a Finals MVP, 100% future Hall of Famer. Even if you don't like Steph Curry, I don't think anybody with a straight face can say he does not belong in the Hall of Fame, right? He is going to be 38 this season. I mean, he has missed a lot of games in the last 9 years, starting with 2017 to 18, missing 20 games, over 10, almost the entire season, then about 20, 25. Was actually relatively healthy at its age 35 and 36 seasons, and then missed pretty much half the season last year. High risk, high reward. My goodness, if Steph Curry was 28 instead of 38, this would obviously be a no-brainer. Of course, the Warriors would not trade him if that was the case, but still, the age, the injuries are a huge concern. But we're also getting the greatest shooter of all time. On the flip side, though, let's take a look at the trade. First up, De'Aaron Fox. I'm guessing a lot of fans are okay moving on from De'Aaron Fox and or his contract to get Steph Curry. Curry's in his last year of his contract, set to make $63 million. And as far as De'Aaron Fox's contract, apologies if you're a fan, but I think it's an abomination. He's going to be making more than Wemby over the life of his contract. And I don't think he's a better player than Victor Wembanyama. Do you? Okay, so Fox, I think most people are okay moving on from him to get Steph Curry. And I would too, just to get out from under that contract. Up next, we're going to jump a player, Keldon Johnson. We've talked about Keldon on this channel in the last month. He's in the last year of his contract, $17.5 million. The community seems kind of split on whether they want him to stay or go. I would say 60%, maybe a little higher, want him to stay, and 40% or so want him to go. I could see him being put into the deal to make the salaries match a little better. But as far as the third player listed there, Stephon Castle, that is an absolute hard no. No way. Absolutely off the table. Not happening in HELL. And then the first round picks, 27, 29, 32. I don't know right now with this new lottery if I would be trading any picks away. I might wait and see what happens because teams are going to be in much different positions than they have before. You guys, many of you may have watched the video where I did some mock lottery sims, and teams were jumping all over the place. With all our swaps coming up over the next half decade or so, I don't know if I'd be inclined to trade first round picks. So should it happen? Not like this. No way. This is the package I saw first, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different packages to get Steph Curry to the Spurs. But what would GM TSR do? As I said before, I would trade De'Aaron Fox and somebody else. Maybe Fox and Barnes to get Barnes back to the Warriors. I don't know. But I would trade Fox just to get out from under the contract as soon as possible. The thing is Golden State going to agree to that? Do they want to pick up De'Aaron Fox's contract? And would they trade the face of their franchise right now, or the face of their franchise period, without one of our young core? Obviously, Wemby's off the table, but I fully would expect the Golden State Warriors would want either Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper to make this happen. Would you do that? I'm very curious where everybody's standing on this. Would you? I know there's going to be people going to be like, give up on Castle, he turns the ball over too much. I already know you're going to put it down there. He can't shoot the three, so by all means, share that thought, because I'd like to see your other reasoning, and even though maybe you're not the biggest fan of Stephon Castle, why you're willing to go up on a young player who's currently ascending in his career. I don't think he's reached his peak yet, as opposed to a player who, not a huge decline. Give credit where credit is due. In his age 37 season, he played well when he was on the court. Would you be willing to give up a young talent, a guy that's turning into a defensive monster, supposedly 6'8", he is with the hair. He's taller than with the hair. A guy that Wemby seems to want to have around, right? Have you heard Wemby talk about Steph? Would you give up that player for Steph Curry? Would you go one Steph for the other? I would not. I absolutely would not. I think it would be a huge mistake. It doesn't seem the Spursy thing to do. To go after a veteran at this point in their career who, I hate to use the slogan, but twilight of their career, no, that seems like a win now move. And that's not us. Now, I obviously want to win now. Let me back that up. I obviously want to win now, but that's kind of throwing all your eggs in the basket to win this year, and maybe that's it. That's not the Spurs plan. We're not looking to win a title next season, and then Steph Curry retires and rides off into the sunset, and now we're missing players to move forward. The Spurs are planning long-term to build around Wemby, have the young core, have vets to win titles over the next decade. LeBron James going to the 76ers. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I don't know. I don't really love talking about other teams too much, but with LeBron going there, that feels like, obviously, that's a very small window for them to win with him. Maybe not without him, but with him. You've got a very tiny window with a player that's going to be, going to be 42 this season? The window there is closing fast. So that's an absolute win now move. And of course, the other one of the best players they have on the team can't stay healthy to save his life. That would be Joel Embiid. So their window to win is going to be extremely small. And I don't want that for the Spurs. And I got to think you don't want that for the Spurs either. You would not want one championship next year and then maybe nothing because we broke up the team over the next decade. I think the team's really putting a nice long-term vision in. They're going to keep mixing in vets in and out, like your Tobias Harrises, your Harrison Barnes, and I think that's good. I know some of you didn't love the Barnes signing, but I get why they did it. I like the direction of the team. And whether you love De'Aaron Fox or hate De'Aaron Fox, he helped get the team to the finals. He was a starter the whole season. You can say what you will about him. His poor performance in the finals, I'll agree. He did not show up. Yes, he had the injury. But I don't think now is the time to have a major shakeup, which this would be. If this trade was to happen, this is a massive shakeup. You're trading away two of your starters and your sixth man of the year for one player that might miss 30-plus games. No way this happens. It should not happen. And quite frankly, I hope Steph Curry retires as a Golden State Warrior. You started your career there, finished your career there. Like the great behind me, or great, should I say, Duncan, Robinson, Ginobili. Unfortunately, not Parker. But I would like him to see him retire as a Golden State Warrior. I don't like seeing players at the tail end of their career jump to another team here. Just start bouncing from team to team to team to team as they're struggling to get minutes and their performance is declining. And, just to close on LeBron, I wish he went to either Cleveland or Miami. I get Philly's a good team. That was not on my radar. I don't know. So we're talking about were the 76ers on your radar for LeBron? Not for me. I said he's going to Cleveland or Miami. Cleveland would be a nice storybook ending for his career. Finish where you started. Maybe even bring another championship back to Cleveland over the next 2 years if he's going to play another 2 years. No, he went to Philly. Philadelphia. That's all I got. Drop a comment down below. If the Spurs were able to bring Steph Curry to San Antonio, what would you be willing to give up? You're probably going to have to give up Fox to make salaries work, but who else would you give up? And just how many picks would you give up? 1 pick, 2 picks, 3 picks, etc. I didn't even talk about that 2030 second round pick. Who cares? We still have 1 million second round picks, don't we? That's all I got. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to become part of our Optimus Spurs community. And I am very curious how you all feel about this. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.